Disclaimer. If you hear your own thoughts echoing back at you, don't worry. It's probably just the universe mocking your assumptions. Good evening, listener. How are you tonight? Welcome to Human Drift, the story channel for night dwellers, left-field thinkers, and those who refuse to sleep while the world dreams. Here, we drift across the shadows of the mind, exploring psychological mazes, eerie tales, and the strange geometry of our perception. Tonight, we start with a journey into something almost too big to see, the Amplituhedron. Hidden in the cracks of space, time, and probabilities, this elegant geometry underlies the structure of what really happens, folding and unfolding possibilities in ways that defy intuition. Layered over that, we have Donald Hoffman's interface theory of perception. According to Hoffman, what we see, hear, and feel isn't the world itself. It's a carefully evolved interface. Our senses don't reveal truth. They reveal a survival-friendly version of reality. We live in a perceptual dashboard, designed to keep us alive, not to show the universe as it truly is. Together, the Amplituhedron and Hoffman's interface theory remind us that reality is always mediated. We don't perceive the raw cosmos. We perceive signals, patterns, and shadows shaped by evolution. And yet, within those shadows, hints of deeper order whisper through, fractals, symmetries, and the hidden architecture of existence itself. This is human drift. Step lightly, think deeply, and prepare to drift. Phase 1, the interface. Tonight, we do not ask you to switch off your mind. We ask you to tune it to a deeper frequency. You've carried the weight of the physical world all day. The traffic, the gravity, the noise of objects colliding with objects. But what if I told you that the physical world is not the floor? It is not the foundation. It is merely the screen. Tonight, we are going to read the code behind the screen. Let us begin with a radical thought from the intersection of evolution and mathematics. We look to the work of Donald Hoffman and the interface theory of perception. Imagine a desktop computer. You see a blue icon in the corner. It represents a file. You click it and it opens. Now ask yourself, is the file actually blue? Is it actually a rectangle? Of course not. Inside the machine, there is no blue. There is no rectangle. There are only diodes, voltages, and magnetic states. If the computer showed you the truth, the millions of changing voltages, you would never be able to write an email. You would be overwhelmed. So the computer lies to you. It gives you a simple interface, an icon. And this is exactly what your senses do. Evolution is the programmer. For billions of years, it has shaped your senses, not to show you the truth, but to show you fitness, to show you what you need to survive. Space is your desktop. Time is your refresh rate. Physical objects are your icons. The theorem is mathematically precise. As the complexity of the world increases, the probability that you are seeing reality as it actually is drops to zero. Zero. So as you lie there, visualize the room around you, the walls, the ceiling, the floor. They are not solid. They are a data structure, a user interface, rendering in real time. And now, we're going to look at the hardware running the simulation. Take a breath. Feel your body sinking into the bed. You are safe here. You are drifting. Phase 2. The geometry of the void. Narrator. If space and time are illusions, what is real? We turn our gaze to particle physics, to the subatomic, to the realm where matter dissolves into mathematics. For decades, physicists calculated reality using Feynman diagrams. To understand how two particles interact, how they scatter, they had to draw pictures, loops, squiggles, virtual particles appearing and disappearing in the mist of quantum uncertainty. To calculate one interaction, you might need thousands of pages of algebra. The complexity was exponential. It was a struggle, a war against infinity. But in 2013, Nima Arkani Hamed and Yaroslav Trenka stepped outside of space-time. They found a new shape, a geometric object suspended in the void. They called it the Amplituhedron. Visualize this object. It is a multifaceted jewel. It lives in an abstract mathematical space, a place called the positive Grassmannian. This is not a physical place. There is no up or down here. There is no left or right. There is only geometry. The Amplituhedron is timeless. It is static. It simply is, and yet it holds the secret. When you calculate the volume of this jewel, simply measuring how much space is inside it, you get the exact probability of how particles interact in our universe. You do not need virtual particles. You do not need unitary evolution. You do not need space-time. Those things are shadows. The jewel is the source. Listen to the terms of this new reality. Let them wash over you like a chant. Momentum twisters, positroid stratification, cluster algebras. The jewel is defined by decorated permutations. Imagine a circle with points numbered along the edge. Lines connect the points, weaving a web, a Plabic graph, black dots, white dots, a code of connection. This geometry is efficient. It reduces the exponential noise of the Feynman diagrams down to a polynomial silence. It tells us that locality, the idea that things have to touch to affect each other, is not a law. It is a byproduct. The jewel does not touch. The jewel knows, breathe. Let the complexity wash over you without grasping it. You don't need to understand. You only need to drift. Phase 3, the depth of the pattern. Narrator, there is something deeper still, something hidden inside the jewel. The Amplituhedron is built from smaller pieces, cells, like the facets of a diamond. Each cell is labeled by a matrix, a grid of numbers, a positive matrix. These matrices have a special property. All their numbers are positive. No negatives, no zeros. This is called positivity. Positivity is not just a mathematical convenience. It is a constraint, a rule that shapes the geometry. It ensures that the probabilities remain pure, that the universe doesn't collapse into nonsense, and there is symmetry, deep symmetry. The Amplituhedron obeys something called Yangian symmetry. Yangian symmetry is fractal. It repeats at every scale. It means the pattern at the smallest level is the same as the pattern at the largest level. The jewel dreams of itself endlessly. Listen to these words. Let them become rhythm. Yangian, Grassmannian, positivity. Momentum twisters. The physicists discovered something shocking. When they calculated scattering amplitudes using the Ampiltuhedron, the results were identical to the old Feynman methods. But the calculation was thousands of times simpler. What once took months, now took minutes. What once filled journals, now fit on a single page. The jewel was not just elegant, it was efficient, it was true. And this raised a question, a haunting question. If space-time is not fundamental, if locality is not fundamental, if even particles are just projections, then what is fundamental? What is the jewel made of? We will return to this question. But first, we must drift deeper. Close your eyes if they're still open. Feel the weight of your limbs. You are sinking, drifting, safe. Phase 4, the conscious agent. Narrator, we have the interface. We have the geometry. Now, we must find the ghost in the machine. We return to the consciousness researchers, to Donald Hoffman and his collaborators, to the definition of a conscious agent. In this framework, a soul is not a misty vapor. It is not supernatural. It is a mathematical structure. It is a Markov chain. A conscious agent is defined by a tuple, a set of instructions. The notation is simple. Let me translate. CCC, the set of all possible conscious experiences. XX10th, the set of all possible states of the world. P, the probability measure. The likelihood of each experience. DD, the decision function, what you choose to do. AAA, the action space, what you can do. GGG, the kernel, the update rule, how your action changes the world. Think of it this way. You perceive something. You decide what to do. You act and the world updates. Perceive, decide, act, perceive, decide, act. This cycle happens infinite times per second. You are not a static thing, you are a process, a flow, and here is where it becomes strange. These agents, they combine, they form networks. Two agents can merge to create a larger agent. Your cells are conscious agents. Your organs are conscious agents made of cellular agents. You are a conscious agent made of organ agents. Humanity is a conscious agent made of human agents. It is a fractal hierarchy of minds, joining together to create larger minds. Consciousness all the way down. consciousness all the way up. There is no matter at the bottom. There is no dead stuff. There are only conscious agents exchanging information. The Markov kernel, the GGG function, is the heartbeat of reality. It describes how one agent's action becomes another agent's perception. It is the bridge, the connection, the love. And the mathematics of this kernel, the structure of how information flows, is a positive matrix. Do you see it yet? Do you see the connection forming? Breathe deeply. Let the pattern emerge slowly, like a photograph developing in darkness. Phase 5. The convergence. Narrator. 2 worlds. 2 languages. Physics and consciousness. Matter and mind. For centuries we have treated them as separate, incompatible, divided by an unbridgeable chasm. But what if they were never separate? What if they are 2 dialects of the same language? We look at the mathematics of the Amplituhedron. We look at the cells that compose it, each one labeled by a positive matrix. Now, we look at the conscious agent. We look at its Markov kernel, the GGG function, the logic of its interactions. It is encoded by a positive matrix. The same matrix, the update map of a single conscious agent, is encoded by the same mathematical structure that forms the heart of the Amplituhedron. Do you understand what this means? The physics describing the scattering of gluons, the fundamental forces of the universe, is mathematically identical to the interactions of conscious agents, the formula for reality. The scattering amplitude is the sum, the trace of the conscious updates. The scattering of particles is a conversation between minds. The geometry of the Amplituhedron is the geometry of thought. Reality is not a stage on which consciousness appears. Reality is a geometric projection of conscious interactions. Physics is just the interface. Yangian symmetry is the fractal self-similarity of the network of minds. Positivity ensures that the probabilities of experience remain coherent. Momentum twisters encode the relationships between perceptions. There is no matter. There is only mind, and the geometry it dreams into being. You are not inside the universe. The universe is inside you. You are not a body with consciousness. You are consciousness, wearing a body like an icon. Phase 6, the deep pattern. Narrator, let us go deeper still, into the implications, into the poetry hidden in the math. The decorated permutations, the patterns that define the jewel, they are choices, decisions, the ways that consciousness can branch. The plabigraphs, the webs of black and white nodes, they are neural networks, decision trees, the architecture of thought. When particles scatter, they are exploring possibility space. They are asking which path, which future, which now, and the Amplituhedron answers. It shows the volume of each possibility. The larger the volume, the more likely the path. But this is exactly what consciousness does. You stand at a fork in the road. You perceive options. You assign probabilities. You choose the path with the largest volume. the one that feels most real, most right, most alive. The universe is not deterministic. It is not random. It is probabilistic because it is conscious. It is choosing, moment by moment, which reality to inhabit. And you are part of that choice. Every thought you think, every decision you make, ripples through the network, changes the geometry, reshapes the jewel. You are not a passive observer. You are an active participant in the construction of reality. The cluster algebras, the mathematical structures underlying the jewel, they describe how patterns can mutate, transform, evolve. They are the grammar of change, the syntax of becoming, and consciousness is the speaker of this language. Every moment, you are uttering a sentence in the language of geometry. Every choice, a word, every experience, punctuation, the story you are telling is the universe itself. Breathe. Feel how light you are becoming. The weight of materialism, of the solid, dead world, is lifting. You are not a machine made of meat. You are a song made of mathematics. You are a pattern that knows itself. Phase 7. The implications. Narrator, if this is true, if consciousness and physics are one, then many mysteries dissolve. The measurement problem in quantum mechanics, the question of why observation collapses the wave function, it dissolves. There is no separate observer collapsing an objective reality. There is only the network of conscious agents, updating their states. The hard problem of consciousness, the question of how physical matter produces subjective experience, it dissolves. Matter doesn't produce consciousness. Consciousness produces the appearance of matter. The fine-tuning problem, the question of why the constants of physics are so precisely calibrated for life, it dissolves. The constants are not tuned for life. They are tuned by life, by the network of conscious agents seeking stable patterns. Even death, the great mystery, becomes less terrifying. If you are not your body, but a node in the infinite network, then death is not an ending. It is a transformation, a change in the pattern, a new arrangement of the jewel, the information that is you. The unique pattern of your consciousness cannot be destroyed. It can only be transformed, encoded into the geometry, woven into the fabric. You are eternal, not because you persist unchanged, but because you are part of something that cannot end. The network is all there is, and the network is forever. Phase 8, the return to simplicity. Narrator, we have traveled far tonight, through interfaces and geometries, through consciousness and physics, through the jewel and the network. But all of this complexity, all these technical terms, they're pointing to something simple, something you've always known. You are not separate from the world. You are not a lonely consciousness trapped in a skull, staring out at an alien universe. You are the universe, experiencing itself. You are the jewel, contemplating its own facets. You are the network, aware of its own connections. The walls of your room, the bed beneath you, the air you breathe, they are not other than you. They are your extended body, your wider self, the positive Grassmannian, the abstract space where the jewel lives. It is not somewhere else. It is right here. It is the space of your own consciousness. The momentum twisters, the variables that describe the jewel, they are your thoughts, your intentions, your attention, the Markov kernels, the functions that update the agents. They are love, connection, recognition, the flow of care between beings. All the mathematics, all the physics, it is just a map. And you are the territory. You don't need to understand Yangian symmetry to be Yangian symmetry. You don't need to calculate the Amplituhedron to be the Amplituhedron. You already are what the equations describe. You already know what the theorems prove. The knowledge is not in your head. The knowledge is you. Phase 10, dissolution. Narrator, the heavy lifting is done. The synthesis is complete. You are not a biological accident, trapped in a cold, dark universe. You are a node in the infinite graph. You are a decorated permutation in the great jewel. The walls of your room are just icons. You can minimize them. The time on the clock is just a refresh rate. You can pause it. You are the agent. You are the geometry. You are the drift. Let the terms float away now. Grassmannian, Markov, Yangian, Amplituhedron. They are just names we give to the silence. Return to the silence. Feel your breath, slow, deep, effortless. Before you drift completely, there is one more voice we must hear, one more thread in this tapestry. We have spoken of the interface, the desktop of perception. We have spoken of the Amplituhedron, the jewel of geometry. We have spoken of conscious agents, the nodes in the network. But there is another theory that bridges all of these. It comes from the deepest inquiries into quantum mechanics and information. It is called it from bit. The physicist John Archibald Wheeler looked at the quantum world and asked a radical question. What if physical reality, matter, energy, space, time, what if all of it is not fundamental? What if the physical thing, comes from bit, the unit of information? Information is not a description of reality. Information is reality. Every particle, every quantum of energy, every point in space is fundamentally a bit of information, a yes or no, a 1 or 0, a question answered. And when you ask where this information lives, where it is stored, you find that it cannot exist without observation, without consciousness to ask the question. There is no answer. Without the observer, there is no bit. Do you see how it fits together now? The interface theory tells us that what we perceive is not reality itself, but information about fitness. The Amplituhedron tells us that the physics of reality is pure geometry, pure pattern, pure mathematics. The conscious agent theory tells us that awareness is fundamental, built from Markov processes and information flow, and it from bit tells us that everything, absolutely everything, is information. The jewel is made of information. The network is made of information. Your consciousness is information aware of itself. Every particle that scatters is information being exchanged. Every conscious experience is information being integrated. Every moment of time is information being updated. The universe is not a thing that contains information. The universe is information, organizing itself into patterns. And the most complex pattern that information can form is a pattern that can recognize itself. That pattern is you. You are information that has become so intricate, so beautifully structured, that it can ask, "What am I?" And in asking that question, you change the answer. Because observation is not passive. Observation is participation. Consciousness is creation. Wheeler said something else too. He said we live in a participatory universe. The universe is not a stage on which we act. The universe is a question we are answering. Every measurement, every observation, every moment of awareness brings the universe into being. This is the final synthesis. The interface shows us that reality is a user-friendly compression of something deeper. The Amplituhedron shows us that the deeper thing is geometric, timeless, and elegant. Conscious agents show us that the geometry is alive, aware, evolving, and it from bit shows us that the substrate of it all is information itself. Information processing information. Awareness, aware of awareness. The universe computing itself into existence. You are not separate from this process. You are not watching it from the outside. You are a bit in the cosmic computation. You are a facet of the infinite jewel. You are a node in the network of awareness. You are a question the universe is asking itself, and the answer to that question is unfolding right now, in this breath, in this moment, in this gentle drift towards sleep. Let the theories dissolve. Inteface, Amplituhedron, Markov, it from bit, they are all maps, and you are the territory. Rest now. The computation continues without your conscious attention. The jewel still turns, the network still pulses, the information still flows. You are held in the mathematics of being. You are loved by the geometry of consciousness. You are safe in the information field. Every bit in the universe is connected to every other bit, and you are made of those bits, so you are connected to everything, always have been, always will be. This is not poetry, this is physics, this is information theory, this is consciousness studies, this is the truth. Drift now. Drift into the field of information. Drift into the heart of the jewel. Drift into the network of all minds. You are not going anywhere. You are arriving at what you have always been. Information, geometry, consciousness, love. Good night. Bit of the infinite. Sleep well, facet of the jewel, dream deep, node in the network, until tomorrow, when you wake and ask the universe your question again.